Morning. Welcome back to the Homestead. Today I want to talk to you about the Premier One pig fence. I want to give my review on it. And Premier One, if you're watching this by chance, listen up because I think I have a great idea for you to make some fence, a new fence that would be more beneficial to us pig owners. But before we get started with the review and my pros and cons of the Premier One pig fence, let's get started on some chores. Morning. Ready for your breakfast? Yeah, okay. Let's go in and get it. Oh, you're ready too. Now let's get the pig feed for them this morning. Some chicken feed next. Do you see all those barn swallows up on the line there? Guess they're waiting for me to be done in the barn. The girl goats are taken care of, so let's go and take care of the boys, the chickens, and then we'll get to the pigs and talk about the fence. Sidetrack from chores. This chicken has been broody for a long time. She's sitting on some eggs and they are not good. They're not fertilized. So she was where we couldn't really get her. So she was actually out when I come down to get another bale of hay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I had to trap her with the net. Hang on. I had to trap her with the net to get her. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim her wings, and then I'm gonna put her in the coop with the other ones. If I could do this one-handed, we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see if we can get her. I'm gonna have to put her down to do this. I'll show you though before I do it. So you want to clip these, the longer wings. I think you can see the longer wings here. Trim them up one side for them so they can't fly out of the fence. So let me go ahead and trim her wings. We'll see here. We'll see here if we could do it. I know, Missy. I know you want to be a mama. I can't get my thumb in there with these gloves on. I'm gonna have to take it off. Okay, hang on, Mama. Now this does not hurt them. It's just like clipping a fingernail. So easy as that. Now let's go. I'm gonna go put her in the chicken coop run area so she can't sit on these eggs no more when we get these eggs out of the barn. Handsome boy. We got the boy goats fed and watered. Now we're going to do the chickens and then to the pigs. The chicken that I had, I went ahead and put her in the coop with the other ones. I normally like to move them at night, but I went ahead and moved her while she was off her eggs this morning, and she seems to be doing okay, so we'll check in on her in just a minute. Okay, she is here, the farthest one from me. There she is. You can see her head popped up. All right, now the chickens are fed and watered, all the goats are fed and watered, the cats, dogs. Now we're at the pigs, and they are happy, as you can see behind me, eating, and they've been fed and watered, obviously. So let's talk about the topic of the day, which is the pig fence, Premier One pig fence. I'm going to review it. Okay, so let's start with, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the stakes. They are single spiked, which is fine. Doesn't bother me at all. They're actually, the height of them is perfect, and it's easy for you to get some force to push them down, whereas the goat fence, well, actually it's chicken fence, they're poultry fence we use for our goats. They're taller, so you have to kind of grab mid of the pole and push it down. But these ones, the height, I think, is a huge pro. And a con of those is that the spikes are so far apart. Now, Justin is taller than me, so this doesn't really affect him, but for me, it does. So depending on your height, this could affect you too. I find that the poles or the spikes are so far apart that when I'm trying to hold them, that the fence hangs down and I'm tripping over it. So there's not enough spikes in between. It seems like there needs to be extra spikes in between the spikes that they already have. I can't remember their distance that they set them, but if they had an extra spike, that would be fantastic. Or if they put them closer together, that would be so much better. So when I'm in the field and I'm trying to hold the fence, that I'm not tripping over the fence at my feet, or my feet aren't getting tangled up in it, that I can just easily hold it and I can walk freely, just like with the poultry fence that they have. All right, the second point I want to make is for the netting itself. Now, I understand it's for pigs and they're bigger. This might be the size for the bigger pigs, but if the netting was smaller at the bottom, because if you've been here for a minute, or even if you've seen our previous pig video when we first got them, they were smaller than we anticipated. So we tried to put them in the fence, but they just ran right through the squares on the netting. So they picked up the fence, but it'd just be more beneficial if the netting was actually smaller at the bottom, where the little ones, we can start them as soon as we get them and start them in the electric fence and not have to worry about them just slipping on through. That would be amazing. As for the height of this fence, I think it's perfect. It's so easy to step over when you're trying to feed them, versus the poultry netting or the sheep and goat fence, the taller fences that they have. This height is amazing to just be able to step over and to feed them, to water them, and then also we find it easier to move. That's another point that we have that's a pro. Justin and I can move this fence so quickly. And I guess a con that I have is that I don't know what it is, but this netting, that with our hills, I guess you can kind of see I'm on a hill here. Our hills, the poultry fence that we use for our goats, seems to really just hug our hills and rocks or whatever we're going over or by, that it hugs the hills so great. And this one is just, there's just such a huge gap from the bottom, and that when they were younger, I was worried about it. Not so much now that they're bigger. I mean, look at those guys. They've grown a lot. I'm not so much worried about the gap now, but I sort of am, because if I don't want to entice them with any sort of gap that they might try to go under it. They might not, my fear is they might not realize that how big they are or strong they are, and they'll want to just go ahead and put their nose under that and just pick it up and run out the fence. I might be a little bit over precautious, but that's just my thought. That's just my take on the fence. I'd rather have the fence go a little farther down, and that also helps with the little ones also, when you have little piglets, to have that netting all the way down to the ground. Now, this one actually, I had to take the top off of their little cap. I'll show you here. I have to take that off so then I can actually get it down low enough for them where they won't come out. Just the way our hill is. If it's like this, then you're going to have a gap, which we need something very versatile with our fields, whether they're on flat or if they're on a hill. We have a lot of land we need to utilize and also give them, guys, because they're pasture pigs. So we need to utilize the pasture that we have without fear of them getting out or a predator wanting to come in. Not that I would want to mess with these girls, but you never know. Another thing I want to mention that's a pro of this fence is that it's lightweight. This is, maybe because it's not as long, I'm thinking it might not be as long as the goat fence that we have, or the poultry fence. Sorry, I don't want to get you confused. But this fence is so lightweight, and the length of the poles make it so easy to where it's not super long when you're holding it. They're a nice little size, lightweight to move when you're out in the field, just to quickly pick it up, move it. Some people might think that the double spike might be a con. I'm either or, it doesn't really matter to me. With the double spike, I do like that I can push it down with my foot versus having to maybe possibly push this from the top. So that's a give or take for me. That's not a pro or a con. Would I like double stake? I would probably prefer it double stake, but the single stake's not that big of a deal to me. The ultimate question now is whether we would buy this pig fence again, and ultimately I would say yes. I would buy this again, and I can recommend that you do so also. But if a new fence isn't made with a smaller netting at the bottom for smaller piglets, I think going forward I might start them actually on the poultry netting to know the fence, to fear the fence, and to actually keep them into where I don't have to worry about them running through the fence. So that would be an idea that I have going forward for our next set of feeder hogs or feeder pigs. So yeah, I would do that if you're looking at that. But that poultry netting is fantastic. It's the most versatile. But we really like the ease of moving this fence and the height of this fence when they're bigger. But there's still the fact of still having to watch the gaps. But overall, I would definitely buy it again and just wait to put them out on it when they're bigger like this. Alright, Premier One, if you're listening, this is my recommendation for the perfect pig fence that I would find, and maybe other fellow farmers, homesteaders would find also. If you can cut that poultry netting in half and have the netting this size and actually add another stake into the distance of these poles here, I think that would be the perfect pig fence. That gives us a chance to have our little piglets that come, well, they're 6 to 8 weeks, so they're not very big. We can actually go ahead and start them in this fence and get them on pasture sooner, and not have to worry about a more permanent fencing or setting up another structure within the fence so they do not come out. And for anyone that has lack of space or barn space to have with a fence to keep these little guys when we get them until they're big enough where they won't run out, that can hinder them too on where we're putting them. So if you could think of, or if you could make a different type of pig fence, I think that would be fantastic. Just my recommendation. If you guys think that would be beneficial too, leave a comment below. Hopefully they'll see it, and then we can have another option for a pig fence. Well, that's all I have, guys, for my pros and cons of the pig fence and my suggestion, the Premier One, for a new pig fence, or at least an option for one. I think that'd be fantastic. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you're looking at purchasing a pig fence, at least, you know, a mobile Premier One pig fence, to look at that and suggestions to be aware of. You could also check out our other video where we had our lesson learned of moving the pigs and putting them out in the pig fence. You can check that out. I'll link it below. And I'll also link our pig house, our pig hut back here. I'll link that too. You can see how we built that using recycled materials, and you can also build that with a pallet, and I'll tell you how to do that in the video. So look at the description below. So I do hope you enjoyed running around with me with farm chores. It's really hot now. Everybody's taken care of. Everyone has their food and water. So I'm going to go in, get me some food and water. So I'll catch you on the next one. I pray you have a blessed day.